So we're here at the Taranaki Kayak Classic, and I'm not going to muck around, we're going to get straight into the sign-in. What's up? Hey, see you, man. See ya. I'm just going to film.
Oh,
Yeah, all good.
that was really cheesy.
Cheers. Oh boys, how's it going? Righto team, all registered. Now that we're all signed up, we listened to the safety briefing and made a plan for tomorrow. After an early night, it was on the road in the dark, heading towards North Taranaki. The wind was coming from the south, so we were hoping the conditions would be better to the north.
It's just getting in, probably. I'll walk it out.
Thankfully, the southwesterly conditions made Uranui a really good choice for this competition day. The waves were small and the wind was fairly light.
We're here in the Taranaki Kayak Classic for 2024. Didn't get here last year due to flooding, so happy to be back in the Naki and happy to have some not bad conditions. It's a nice morning out here, not too much wind. We're hiding out of the southwester that's coming up the coast, and the surf's not too bad, it's quite nice. So we're just going to head out for a dirty old stray line session, see if we can't pick up a nice gurnard, snapper, trevally, kawai. That's kind of the target for out here, and then on from there we'll see how we go throughout the day. But we will be at the port this evening hunting down that John Dory that I haven't caught for a while. So let's paddle. I got kind of no clue where to go. We'll just get out into maybe 15 meters and set up a trail there. Right, so we're out here. My sounder again has let me down. No sonar now. So we're fishing completely blind, which thankfully it doesn't matter a huge amount in this area. It's very murky and we were going to be bait and burley fishing either way. We're just going to get set up with our rods.
It took a long time for anything to happen at all, but finally after around half an hour of waiting, I had my first hookup. And to my disappointment, it was the smallest gurnard I've caught in over a year. Eventually, after another hour of waiting, my strayline bait got picked up.
Probably a shark or a ray.
And based on the lack of movement and the amount of weight on the rod, my suspicion was this was a stingray.
My assumption is this is a stingray. They've moved the damn thing. Move!
In the end, the line broke and I had to retie. As I was packing up to move, I managed to hook up to the first keeping fish of the competition, a nice kahawai. He'd managed to go around a couple of my lines, so I got him in the net and put the knife in his head to get him all sorted. before pulling my anchor up and moving on to somewhere else more fishy. The water out wider was much cleaner, so I felt this was a really good spot with a bit of current that I might be able to pull some fish off of. I got some fresh burley into the water along with a couple of baits and got to work trying to catch that big one.
Didn't even have anything going on whatsoever, and I moved and it's made a lot of difference. There we go, that one's on as well now. This one feels like a nice snapper. As long as we get the gurnard as well, we'll be alright. And we've got a nice carwai as well. Yeah, it's a good snap. That's a nice snapper. Get in there. Right, let's deal with this one, whatever this is. Another little live bait. Oh, he's gone anyway. It's a respectable fish.
With the snapper in the back and an upgraded kahawai, I got another bite not long after.
Feels like a gurnard. And it is. Pretty nice one too. Oh, there goes my live bait. Whatever. Well, got a nice gurnard now, so screw the bloody live bait.
It was a good start for the gurnard, and now we had 3 species ticked off. The bites were coming thick and fast now, and I soon had another fish hooked up. That's gurnard number 2, slightly bigger, so quite a good one to weigh. Obviously, I'd found the carrot patch, and 2 more soon joined me. With quite a solid 2-metre swell rolling in from the southwest, it was beginning to get a bit choppy with the wind against the tide. Thankfully, I'd hooked up to the best fish of the day so far.
Fucking lumpy airs out here, isn't it? Oh, that's solid. That's a good one. Take that thing. Oh, about time.
This half-decent snapper was a good sight for me, as I wanted to tick off just a little bit bigger of a snapper before I headed in.
Solid. About 5 kilo.
With the weather building and the lack of the sounder really inhibiting my fishing, I decided to head back to shore after a few drifts through the area and then head off to the weigh-in before then heading on to the port. And it was a good year again, no Taranaki turtles this time around.
I thought they were.
We shot over to Butler's Reef and I weighed a few of the gurnard in the line to make sure which one I'd be weighing in. And my kahawai came out to just under 2 kilograms, my gurnard 0.68 and my snapper 4.2 kilos. So I was looking pretty good going into the evening at the port. Arriving at about 4 PM, we found the conditions to be quite blustery, but that wasn't going to stop me from anchoring up to target a John Dory. I got my baits sorted in short order and I rigged them up ready to get eaten. While the bait swam, I got back to catching more live baits to hopefully bring in some John Dory with the commotion on the sabiki.
Jesus.
This year it's been a running theme catching big fish on the sabiki, and this time was no exception, with something really big taking a liking to my tiny little hooks. It was a scramble to untangle the line, and thankfully I did, and then the fish shot off to the right, having me scrambling for the other rod to clear that one too. With my tiny hooks losing more line at an alarming rate, I got the other rod finally out of the holder and the fish took off to the horizon. Suddenly, I felt the fish going to ground. It felt like it was getting wrapped up in something on the bottom, so I quickly detached the anchor, chucked it in the water, and got the paddle out and headed over to where the fish had gone. The plan was to get over the top of the fish to hopefully get it out of where it was stuck. At this stage it wasn't looking good. The fish was hung up on something on the bottom and I couldn't move it. Grabbing the line with two hands, somehow I managed to budge the fish out of the rope that it was stuck in and gain some line. The fish was now clear and doing big circles. This was looking very promising.
I don't know. Got him!
Securing my first ever trevally in the Kayak Classic, I paddled upwind back to the anchor and got the kayak back into place. While it wasn't the largest trevally, it was well over the 500 gram limit for counting towards a species. I pulled the hooks out of both sides of its head and got it on the ice. This is one of the hardest fish to reliably target in the Naki, so I was very happy to put fish number 4 in the back on day 1. I redeployed a couple of fresh live baits, hoping that I might be able to tick off number 5 for the day. Just an hour later and number 5 came looking. A single bite from a John Dory after 2.5 hours of effort, all for nothing, as he stole the live bait off the hook and didn't get hooked himself. Over the next hour, I continued to entertain myself and hopefully the John Dory with some commotion on the bottom, pulling up jack mackerel after jack mackerel. My bait swam on as the light began to fade and I was beginning to lose hope. No more John Dory showed up onto the baits for the next 2 hours, and soon it was 8 o'clock and darkness was upon us. I called it there and headed in, well beaten by the John Dory on this day. It was going to be another day tomorrow, so I decided to head back to the port to try and tick that JD in the morning and then head out wide after. Once again, I quickly got a mackerel deployed, and this time it got eaten pretty fast. That was another one gone, and a really important fish to tick early. That one hurt particularly bad, as I had no more bites for an hour and a half and decided to get out wide and look for another species. Arriving to a kingfish spot, I had a live bait quickly eaten, but unfortunately it was just another kahawai. My sounder was still playing up, so I had no sonar, so it was all eyes on what was going on the surface rather than what was going on under the water. I did my best with what I was working with and found a really nice rock and a good bit of current and anchored there. My hope was that there was a blue cod on the bottom and maybe a kingfish would swing by and eat one of my live baits. Instead of the blue cod I was looking for, I got a double hookup of snapper. With this reef returning nothing but snapper and kahawai, I returned back into the harbour to try for a final couple of hours to tick that John Dory off, but all I could muster was another trevally. After a very tough second day without the John Dory so much as even wanting to be on my hook, we headed to the weigh-in to see what other people had managed to land on day 2. Is this the 95 I've been hearing about?
Another baby? Nah, that wasn't 90, it was 84, I think.
It's got to be 20.
6.635.
Thick, eh? Oh, he's still got the spray line in him. Look at that thing. Cheers.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, look at that thing. So who caught that one? The smoke? No, not the smoke.
No, but
Yeah. So have you weighed him?
yeah, was he 10 and a half?
Oh, Bluey!
Yeah.
Well done. What were conditions like? Good?
Yeah, it's a fatty. Good man.
That's fat for its length, eh?
Yeah.
Big enough though, eh? I don't think so.
He's fat, though, is he?
10.055.
10 for its length? Pretty good.
Got that shred as well.
Scorched up, eh?
That's not, is that even 80 centimetres?
You able to weigh all three and pick the biggest one, or do I need to sort that out now? Yeah. I have scale 420.
Look how fat it is.
Yeah, eating my burley all day. I fed it for 2 hours before I caught it, eh? 44.
Nice.
He's a cracker, eh?
I've never seen such a fat one for its length.
Yeah, not very long, is it?
Is it 80?
I don't know, it doesn't look like it, like 75 maybe?
And it's 10.5 kilo.
No.
Or 10,
No,
10,
10.0
something.
basically. 10 point not much.
Crazy.
Salty Hookers team!
Salty hookers.
Now you can argue about which one's bigger. Yours is way bigger now.
Put it in the frame.
Nice job, guys.
Cheers. Cheers.
Have you caught bigger than that?
No.
Nah.
What a freaking
Bro, you can barely lift it. Well done, bro. Happy?
Yeah, stoked.
Stoked, bro. Well done.
Got one.
Sorry.
Tuna. Yeah, 115. 115, eh? Yep. 5.860.
Nearest close to 6.
Look at me, that would have been a nice little race around your kayak for a few times.
Just hooked into the old power and vacuum pack is going hard.
So just a little recap of the competition overall. Day one, we were all hiding up north and there weren't that many big fish caught because of the weather. We all headed to the port in the evening to target that JD. Only a few people got into them. And then day two, the weather really opened up and a lot of people went sort of mid Taranaki around the Cape area. And a lot of the biggest fish came from that south of Owakura through to about the Cape zone. That's going to be about it. I'm just going to show the leaderboard for the competition so you can all see how everyone did. Captain Doom, Nick Johnston there in 2 sections. Kingfish on day 1 in the port and upgrading as John Dory on day 2 and just getting pipped right at the last second. Almost getting the double first place, which is pretty impressive. So that's going to be about it for this video. Very recent one, just filmed it about 5 days ago over the weekend. So I hope you all enjoyed the session. It was a tough one for me, but learnt lots as per usual. Once again, going to thank Mike on Patreon for his continued support. You know where to go if you want to support there. And I'll see you in another 7 days. Cheers, guys.